Welcome everybody. This is my client Robyn, and today marks day number 2,222. Exactly. Robyn just went through a pregnancy and she gave birth to a beautiful boy named Elliot.
Yes, it's
8
a
pounds,
unit.
11 ounces.
Use the unit.
A unit. And we're going to talk about what she went through over the last 8-9 months and where we started and where we're going. And what made you choose me? It's been so long.
Okay, so our first trial, actually, the first time I met you, someone had made a scheduling error. They had scheduled me on top of somebody else. And so when I came in to meet you, you were actually with another client and you felt really bad. Well, they reached out and they were like, the person who did the scheduling error is like, I can actually get you in with this other person. I was like, no, I really liked him. I liked his energy. I could tell you were frustrated that it had happened. And now knowing you too, with how just like hyper vigilant you are with your schedule, I was like, no, I do. I'll wait till next week. I wanna train with him, and I liked that experience a lot. So that's how I ended up with you originally.
I love that. I will say this. How did your fitness routine change during your pregnancy?
Mental health, that I knew I was going to need that. So probably halfway through, we knew that there were certain things that I wasn't going to be able to do. Like, this was no longer about being able to do the most amount of reps or like the heaviest reps. It was about like, what can we do to prep me for birth? Something that I'd never been before. Truly the most physically enduring thing I'm ever going to go for my body. Yeah. And it was cool because I felt like you and I were learning together on some level. I felt that like with every session that we had, that you were really like looking for ways to make sure like we're going to do this.
Yeah, I was learning just as much from her and myself than she was learning from herself. And Robyn is the first client ever, and I've had many pregnant ladies in my lifetime as training, to go all the way towards pregnancy. Was there anything that stood out to you during your pregnancy, something that was very challenging to get past?
I think there was some mental parts of it because I started to get like Braxton Hicks. It was like a tightness in my belly that I would feel. So there was like this mental thing I had to get over, because at that point, I think it was around 24 weeks, I understood why clients maybe took a back seat.
Sure.
Because you can feel something in every little new change in your body, and when you can start to feel the baby, and it triggers this anxiety, and you're just you're worried that anything can go wrong. So I think the biggest piece was like trusting that my body could do this, that my mind could do this, and pushing through that with every session. Because it was at that moment around 24 weeks I understood, I'm like, that's why they stopped going. They're afraid. There's fear. And I understood that, but I really think that was having to just push through on that. Because my doctor was like, there's nothing, it's totally safe. It's good for you. But there would be some days that were really harder than others to show up, just purely out of like my own fear.
Now that you've given birth to Elliot, how do you feel that your fitness journey has prepared you for motherhood?
Physically, my body was so prepared for birth. Like my pelvic floor was so good. My recovery in that regard was a lot better. So that just made it easier on me in terms of like, you're already so sleep deprived. You're already like, if you decide to breastfeed, you're figuring that out, and your boobs hurt because you're breastfeeding. Like, I felt like my fitness journey throughout like my pregnancy and then afterwards, like my healing was a lot quicker. So I was able.
You said something about your doctor saying I want everyone to know this, because this is really a proud moment.
During when I get it, so I had to be induced. Elliot had no plans of coming out. So I actually delivered at 41 weeks. And the doctors, everybody, they were like, I think this baby's going to be like 7-something pounds. I'm like, no, I think he's going to be a unit. And I start to get into active labor and we get to the pushing piece. The nurse said to me that I had the strongest back that she had ever seen. And they actually made me stop pushing. I'd only been pushing for like 20 minutes. They made me stop because the doctor wasn't at the hospital yet. And they're like, if you can hold off. So really I only pushed for like an hour. I couldn't actually feel anything down there. So what was so critical for me is because I can't actually feel myself pushing, the difference maker was knowing how I needed to position my body. That I could feel where I was like shifting my hips up or I was shifting my pelvis, but I couldn't actually feel anything else. Because when they're like, yes, push exactly like that, I don't know how I was pushing, but my body, I'm used to these like micro movements that we would work on, and that was a huge difference maker. Yes, because I could not feel how I was pushing, but I knew how to bear down in these other like aspects because I could still feel from here up, and all of that made like a huge difference.
Love it.
Yeah. Strongest back she'd ever seen.
You say, if you could put it to one thing, are you most proud about during this experience, during your pregnancy?
that I really stuck with it, that I stayed consistent with it. My me time, I only had to step away for the 6 weeks that I had to step away for, because physically I could have come back sooner, but the first 6 weeks you're so like, you're trying to figure out the baby. Like,
a lot of things come
physically
first.
I probably could have come back the first 6 years of our relationship. It's been like a lot of, heavy lifting, a lot of weight lifting. And you get to a point in your pregnancy where you really can't do that. I physically just could not, there was probably for a good 6 months, I couldn't see my feet, or a good 4 months. Even on days where it felt like maybe we weren't doing a ton, that when it came down to it, all of the little things we were doing, all the pelvic floor stuff was the stuff that mattered the most when it came down to delivering this child.
Yes. Yeah. Do you have any advice for mothers or soon-to-be mothers that are looking to stay active while during their pregnancy?
That to just maintain that and also be flexible with yourself, that it will look different as you get further down the line. So whatever your current fitness journey is, understand that to stick to it with the understanding that it's going to evolve and change a little bit, and be okay with that as well. But that it all matters and that it'll all be good for you mentally and physically.
Love that. It has been an honor to train you for 6+ years. One of my OGs of all OGs.
I know, you've seen me through a wedding. You've seen me through now my baby. Now we're going to see me through the postpartum journey.
Yes.
So we'll be back after to talk about that too.
And I just thank you for your time. I thank you for your energy, your intention, and your efforts. And I am so excited to see what the coming chapters look like.
Me too. We've been through so much together. So I'm just really happy that you've been a part of all of these different parts of my journey, but I truly couldn't have done it without you. It really it made a huge impact for me on that day. And I know that it really, all of the work that we did and all of the time that we spent really set me up to have a very easy delivery, as easy as it can be, of course, and just a really great recovery as well. Mine has been really great, and I know it was because of all the stuff that we did, so thank you.
I love it. Give me some love. Okay, let's go back to training.
Yeah, back to the drawing board.
Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.